This game should be a friendly international competition, but you can bet that it's going to be very competitive out there tomorrow.
Age is the biggest difference at the moment.
Our chances, I think, this weekend against the Finns are probably based on two things. How tired we can get them tonight for the game tomorrow, and how motivated the Sushi Masters can come out tomorrow for just one game.
They are old. I think if we play smart, it's going to be close. I think they're probably going to be a little bit more physical, a little bit better in shape.
And they are a little bit older than we are, so they have to run fast.
Are they a little bit older than you?
Much older.
All of a sudden it dawned on me that, wait a minute, this is a silver medal team from a country that has a tradition and it's their first division. We could lose this.
They're like old.
I don't know. Quite old compared to us.
Not as old as my father, but almost.
But playing against a first division European team that averages probably 21 and a half years old is going to be a different story, I think.
We are going to win. That's
For sure.
yes.
We're gonna win it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna win it.
I think we're going to get killed.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fremont, California, the site of a special team handball competition. Today, it's one last dance, the final game for the Sushi Masters, the defending national champion team handball club in the United States, a club that features players mostly from the western United States. Today's competition is an international competition against Team Diken, a first division club from Finland, which has traveled over here especially to play this game today. My name is Mark Schiavenza. I'll be calling the play-by-play of this team handball competition. And with me to provide analysis and color is Mark Lockenmeyer, the coach of the local team handball team, the California Heat, and an Olympic coach just back from Atlanta. And we're just underway, Mark, so we'll follow the competition and talk a little bit about team handball. But going from our right to your left, and in white and taking a shot is the Sushi Masters. That shot is blocked by the Diken goalie, and possession is now taken over by Diken, who come down will try to make the first score of the game.
Diken is a very deliberate team that'll move the ball around and move a lot of crossing and passing and try to get an open shot. They're not real tall, so they'll have trouble shooting over the bigger Sushi Masters.
While they're working the ball on the perimeter, looking for an opening to shoot. And now we see a move made in, and the first goal scored of the game. It's scored by number 4, Tony Enholm, with the first goal for Team Diken on a shot from the outside. And now possession over to the Sushi Masters, who will bring the ball up. Take a moment on the rules here. The red area that's by the goal, that's a 6-meter area. Mark, take a moment to tell us what the rules are regarding that area.
The red area is the 6-meter area. Player on offense has to leave the ground and shoot before he lands in that area. No other players are allowed offense or defense in that area except the goalie.
You saw there just to interrupt for a moment, a minor infraction which allowed the offensive team, which was fouled, to reset a play from 9 meters. And that's going to happen again now with the circle runner for the Sushi Masters, Mark Wright, starting the play.
Players are allowed to take 3 steps, dribble the ball, and then can take 3 more steps. There's no up and down in the game, so a player can jump, land, and dribble or run again. And contact is allowed. Officials use discretion. If the contact does not affect the offensive player, they continue to play. If it does, they'll blow the whistle, it'll be a violation, and they'll start over again. There's no fouls like basketball. A player can have as many fouls as possible.
Speaking of fouls, there is a foul, and it's a minor infraction, even though done during the shot. No, actually, it appears that they've called a major infraction, and that gives a 7-meter penalty shot here for number 10, Bjorn Monberg, and he scores.
Monberg was hit while he was trying to shoot in the 6-meter area. Any player that's shooting or breaking into the 6-meter area on offense, if he is hit, it's an automatic 6-meter shot, and that's what happened there.
All right, and the score now early in this game is 2-0 in favor of the Finnish team, Diken from Helsinki, Finland. 2 30-minute halves, running time similar as in soccer. We now have 27 minutes to go in the first half of this game as the Sushi Masters look to get on the board.
The two offensive players to look at is number 6, Joe McVeigh, a lefty jump shooter, and Steve Goss, the playmaker, number 8.
That shot was taken by number 10, Bob Djokovic, former Olympian, several former Olympians on the Sushi Master team. Joe Story, who you spoke, is the only member of the team who's played any professional team handball. He was a first division player in Spain, the first United States player ever to have that honor. 9-meter foul here by Diken, and the Sushi Masters will reset trailing 0-2 in the first half. There's a drop-off that's missed. Attempt to drop off to the circle runner, Mark Wright, but another foul is called.
Right now, the Sushi Masters are having trouble getting untracked. There's a big shot by Djokovic that's blocked by the goalie.
It looked like the circle runner Wright was setting a pick, and what might have been called a moving pick if we were playing basketball. And then on the fast break, it's Christer Ahlberg, the Finnish international, who comes down to score his first goal and the third goal for Diken.
Ahlberg plays in the first division of Switzerland, a professional league, and is an outstanding player. He came home to play specifically to play in this game.
When we're talking about first division, you may be familiar with European sports, as in soccer with team handball. As we see a foul now and a yellow card, perhaps you take a moment to explain that. Yellow card being issued.
A yellow card is a flagrant hit. Steve Goss was up for a shot and was hit in the arm while he was shooting.
Now a steal and an attempted fast break, but stolen back by the Sushi Masters. There's a hard shot, but beautifully saved by the Finnish goalie, Sundholm. Now another fast break for Finland as they come down looking to get their fourth goal, but turn it over. We'll see now if the Sushi Masters will slow it down. They do to set up. 3-0 in favor of Diken here. 24 minutes left in the first half. As we were saying earlier, Mark, Diken is a first division team, which is the best league in Finland for team handball competition, but there are no professional leagues in Finland. All of these players, or most of these players, are amateur.
That's right, and the top players in Finland will go to Germany, Spain, to play in or Germany to play in the professional leagues.
And we were talking earlier, just to give you an idea in comparison to what salaries are like here in the United States. There's the first goal scored, and it's by number 3, Mike Cavanaugh, former national team member, and the Sushi Masters are on the board, now trail 3-1. Give us an idea of what the salary ranges might be for a professional team handball player in Europe.
The lower players will around 30,000 American dollars, middle range 60 to 80,000, and then the big time players will make $100,000 plus. There's probably about 10 or 15 of those players in Europe right now that command that kind of salary.
So as you can see, it's a significant and important professional sport, even though it's still relatively obscure here in the United States, despite the fact that the United States has competed, I think, in the last 3 Olympics with their national team.
There was a 7-meter shot. Ahlberg was going in and was hit in his shooting arm from behind, which is a dangerous play.
This results in a penalty shot. He shoots without the defense and scores. This is the second penalty shot goal for Club Diken, and now gives them a lead of 4-1 with 23 minutes left to go in the first half. After a goal, as you can see, the team that's been scored against will start play at midcourt and will have possession after they've been scored against. Team handball is a full Olympic sport for both men and women and has been since 1972. There is, I believe, Mark, you've just come back from the Olympics where both the men's and women's team competed as the host country team this year.
That's right. The host country automatically qualifies for the Olympics. Our men team took a very surprising 9th place. The women's team was not as fortunate. They took 8th place out of 8 teams. 12 men teams compete at the Olympics and 8 women. And there's special qualifications. Teams are represented from all over the world to come to the Olympics.
Another 9-meter foul called against Diken, and the Sushi Masters continue with possession, and there's a throw into the circle runner, Mark Wright, who plays basically what would be called a pivot type position in basketball, with his back to the goal, looking to be fed, and also looking to set picks for the players around the perimeter.
Mark Wright's quite a big target in there. He's about 6'6".
Now the Finns look to fast break. They have a 3-on-2, and here's the shot. Oh, that may be a foul.
Yeah, that was not a 7-meter because Steve Goss had hit him before he got into the 6-meter area.
And again, Bjorn Monberg is held up, and it looks like another 9-meter foul. Just maintenance of possession by the Finnish team, by the offensive team in this case. These fouls, incidentally, are not recorded, and therefore a player can have an unlimited number of these. It's not like in basketball where after 5 or 6 fouls, one's going to foul out. 21 minutes, slightly more than 21 minutes in the first half. Club Diken leading 4-1 here in the early going of this match. Now a nice drop-off pass and into the area, but the ruling, I believe, is that his feet came down before he got the shot off, and therefore possession goes by, no goal.
Yeah, what happened on that play actually was his foot touched the line before he took off, and therefore it was nullified.
As you explained, neither the offense nor the defense may be in that area within 6 meters, nor may they touch the line. There's a shot and a score.
Greg Maraba just hit a jump shot running from his left to right and found a corner. A very difficult shot.
And it looks like here that the Sushi Masters may be looking to shoot a little from the outside and see if they can loosen up that Diken defense.
The Sushi Masters are taller and they can shoot over them, and they're going to try to have to get the Diken players to come out to open up some areas for Mark Wright.
There's a shot that's beautifully blocked by Raggets, the goaltender for the Sushi Masters, and they now look to break. Remember, only 3 steps allowed before you either dribble or release the ball. The Finns will get back on defense, but there's a shot and a goal.
In that situation there, it was a secondary break, and the Sushi Masters had 2 circle runners in the area, and Diken couldn't contend with that, didn't have the manpower, and they got the ball to Joe Story.
Joe Story scores his 2nd goal, the 3rd for the Sushi Masters, and they've closed the lead to 4-3 here in the first half. Diken now looks to set up and see if they can lengthen their lead out a little bit. As I said earlier, Club Diken, a first division team in Finland. They finished 3rd in the first division last year, which is quite a strong standing. They have been the national champions in Finland. And so there's certainly not a weak competition for the Sushi Masters. And there's a beautiful play in from the right wing and a goal by Bjorn Monberg.
That was an outstanding shot because he had the goalie committed and he just lobbed the ball over his head, just like a changeup in baseball. The ball comes in so quickly to the goalies, they have to react very quickly, and they commit, and they're able to change the speeds. And players at that level at the first division can shoot that way.
One of the things about team handball is it's an interesting combination of skills that really are quite familiar in the United States, the skills that you might see in baseball and in basketball, and even to some more remote degree in football, because it's a bit more physical than one might think.
Yes, the hitting is very similar to pass blocking in that you're allowed to hit the player from the front side, not grab or shove, and so you have to have quick feet and hit and move.
You can see there that the breaking Finnish player was held up a little bit. Now they come in for a shot, beautifully saved and taken back by the Sushi Masters, and they look to break. It's Joe Story. He's unable to score from the left wing after a nice feed from Marava. And here's Monberg the other way again, beautifully slipped in with the left hand.
That shot was a very special shot. He came in full speed from the right and just did a spin shot, almost like a curveball, where he threw the ball, spun it, hit the ground, and bounced into the goal. And the goalie didn't have a chance on a shot like that.
Bjorn Monberg, Finnish international and captain of this team, is showing us some international quality skills out here today, as he's scored quite often for Diken and led them to their 6-3 lead here in the first half. 9-meter foul, possession retained by the Sushi Masters. Ball stolen, but again, 9-meter foul for a pull and a holding infraction. Again, minor infractions not recorded. They simply allow the offensive team to retain possession. There's a shot that's saved, and I think we're going to have another, is this a non-shooting foul?
Yes, another 9-meter. Djokovic got hit. They allowed him to continue. He didn't get a good shot off, so they gave him the ball back. That's one of those discretionary calls by the official.
So that's similar to what in soccer is called the advantage rule. You're not going to call a foul if he has a chance to score. Now the shot is blocked, and the Finns come back with possession, a 9-meter foul, and they'll look to set up here and see if they can lengthen their lead. They lead 6-3 with a little over 16 minutes to go in the first half.
The Finns will try to push the ball up the court against the Sushi Masters as the game continues, just because of their young legs. And you'll see Sushi Masters try to slow the game down a little bit, be a little more deliberate.
Let's talk a little bit about the history of team handball, if we might. Mark, it's my understanding that the sport basically started in Germany and primarily in the northern European countries.
Yeah, Germany and Denmark is where the game started and moved its way down through Europe.
I know from having lived in Europe that then here's the Diken looking to fast break and score after a beautiful save, and they are able to score. That goal is the 7th goal for the Club Diken, and it's Sebastian Arnaud who scores his first goal of the afternoon.
There's a lot, you'll see a lot of scores after a good block by a goalie, because it turns into a transition. The goalie hustles after the ball, gets it out to the wing, and they push the ball up the court.
So just like in in basketball, the teams are looking to fast break when they can.
There's two types of breaks. One is the initial fast break. The one is called a secondary break, where there's still some openings in that defense because some of the players haven't got all the way back on defense, and the offensive players try to find those gaps, get in them, and get a shot off.
There was another example of a delayed foul where Djokovic was allowed to attempt the shot, and when he passed off, the foul was called. There's Mark Wright getting his first goal. Well, the goal was disallowed, and the Finns are breaking the other way. No foul there. Ball comes over to the Sushi Masters.
Play got a little sloppy right there as the ball started flying around. You'll see the Sushi Masters slow it down now, become a little more deliberate, and try to get a good shot.
Trailing by 4 goals now, more than halfway through the first half. They'd like to see if they can cut this lead down a little bit. Having lived in Europe, it seemed to me that team handball really, as we watch a clear fast break from Monberg, he goes in unimpeded and scores yet again with the left hand. And the Finns are really counterattacking when the Sushi Masters are unable to get a good shot off, and they've scored quite a few goals on that basis.
Steve Goss, probably their main offensive threat, just really hasn't gone untracked yet.
This moment of silence while we change the announcer's tape is brought to you by Media Partners, the premier music, video, and multimedia production company in Northern California. Whatever your communication needs are, join forces with us, Media Partners. We now rejoin the Last Waltz, currently in agonizing progress.
It's that man Bjorn Monberg again with the left hand. He has scored once more and stretched the lead to 9-3 with a little less than 13 minutes to go here in the first half.
Monberg's a very opportunistic player with a tremendous shooting touch.
He's displayed that, really the ability to change speeds, and that throws the goalie off. There's a behind the back pass that doesn't
As you can
work,
see,
and the Finns
Diken's
look
trying to
break.
push the ball up the court.
Good ball movement for Diken here as they look for an opportunity to pierce the defense. In this case, the Sushi Master defense was able to get back and stop the break. Now play slows down.
And they'll move the ball from the wing to the wing, so the three backcourt positions touch the ball. They'll move it back. They'll go down to the wing if they can, down to the wing.
There's a pass dropped off, but broken up, and the Masters take over. Nine to 3 here in the first half. Substantial lead for Diken, basically on the strength of Bjorn Monberg's solid offensive play. There's a shot from the outside by number 10, Bob Djokovic. As you could see, it looked to me like they were double teaming the circle runner on that play. Is that a typical defensive set?
What happens is the defense needs to communicate. One player stays on the circle runner, the other player goes out and hits the backcourt shooter. In that situation, no one came out to hit Djokovic. He saw it, took advantage of it, and fired a jump shot by the goalie.
Fourth goal for the Sushi Masters. They now trail 9 to 4 as Diken looks to set up and go for double figures. There's a drop-off pass that's broken up. The Masters look to break. They don't have the numbers. Now on a delay. Now they'll look to set up. Is there any time limit in which the team has to get a shot off?
There's no time limit. However, the referees use discretion. If the team is not making an effort, or they perceive not making an effort to shoot and score, they will call a delay a game and the ball will go the other way.
All right, we haven't had that happen yet. Both teams have been fairly aggressive, it seems to me. And
typically that'll happen at the end of the half or the end of the game, where teams are trying for one more shot.
There's a shot by McVeigh with the left hand that went wide on a good run in, but unable to capitalize and score the goal. And possession now over to the Finnish team.
The Sushi Masters look like they're playing a 5-1 where Jack Holloman is coming out a little bit off the 6-meter line and try to disrupt their offense a little bit.
And maybe pick off an errant pass. Now Monberg on the right. He has been the big scorer for the Club Diken in this first half with that lethal left hand. And there's a shot from outside. That's a score. Mikael Quickstrom with his first goal of the day.
Quickstrom on that shot faked low. The hands went down to the defense, and then he jumped over the defense and found a nice shooting lane. It's one of those skills that the European players develop at a very young age.
As we said earlier, it's basically a running clock, now down under 10 minutes. 30-minute, two 30-minute halves. Are there any timeouts allowed?
Right now at the international level, there's one timeout per team per half.
And we got a ball right in our face here, so we're now a part of the action. That ball came straight back off the Diken goalie, and possession retained by the Masters.
And there's a 7-meter shot. Brian Marburg got grabbed from behind by the defender.
Brian Marbach, former national team player, will get a penalty shot here straight on the goalie.
Anyone can shoot the penalty shot, and they gave the ball to Steve Goss.
So it'll be Steve Goss, and I believe that's his first goal, and so he's now in the scoring column. So as in soccer, when there's a penalty shot awarded, it does not have to be taken by the player who was fouled.
And some teams actually bring someone off the bench who specializes just in shooting penalty shots. Some teams do the same with goalies. They'll bring in a special goalie just to take on the penalty shooter.
Are there any substitution limitations?
There are no substitution limitations. Players can come in and off the court just like hockey.
There's some physical play there with Holloman. But since not in the act of shooting, that would not be a foul. That would result in a penalty. There's a shot with the left hand and a goal scored by Ravo Lost. Ravo Lost is an Estonian international player who plays his club ball for Club Diken in Helsinki.
Well, the Sushi Masters right now changing some players in the backcourt and changing offense to defense. Djokovic looks like he's specifically only playing offense.
That shot right into the goalie.
And it looks like Jack Holloman comes in specifically for the Sushi Masters on defense.
Now the Masters will set it up, trailing 11-5, 7 minutes and 2 seconds to go in the first half. There's a shot beautifully saved by Kirpa, the Diekman goalie, and he now looks with a long pass out to see if they can catch the Masters not getting back on defense. And it's that man Monberg again with a beautifully played lob shot with the left hand. He scored more goals with the soft shot than anybody has with the hard shot today.
What makes him so effective too is his jumping ability. As you can see, he's probably a long jumper of 19 or 20 feet. He gets over that line and he has an easy angle, and the goalie has to commit early.
So even though he's not one of the larger players out there, he's certainly playing large. Now Goss looking to get into the offense. There he is, and dishes out to the wing to Story. Back to Goss. But good defense by the Finns, and the Masters will have to set it up again.
The Sushi Masters right now are employing two circles in their offense, it looks like. Morava and Marbach have gone into the circles on several occasions.
Well, there's an errant pass that's picked off and could result in a break here. There's a man coming in, and he just hits the goalpost. That was number 21, Robert Eklund, who broke through and had an unimpeded shot, but hit the goalpost. And no goal, and a ball over to the Sushi Masters.
That was great defense by Goss. He forced him to go left, then right, and hurt his angle. He really didn't have a good angle to shoot at right there.
Now the Masters trailing 12-5. Look to see if they can cut the deficit a little bit here before halftime. 5 minutes to go. Again, very tight defense. And the Masters are having a hard time breaking through. Morava looks to score, and looks like a 9-meter
very difficult
foul.
shot there by Morava. He forced that ball there. The Diken is playing great defense. They're playing a 5-1 defense, and they're swarming onto the Sushi Masters.
Looks like they do a good job of sensing when the attack and where the attack is going to come and collapsing on that area. Looked like 3 men in that case on the offensive player, McVeigh. Now the Masters will set up again. They really need to be patient here and not get frustrated because they need quality shots. That one was a long distance shot by Djokovic, fairly easily saved. And then on the counterattack break, a wide open shot for Lost, but wide of the net.
I think Mark Ragetz sort of lured him into shooting out there and then quickly darted over there, and he had no angle.
He had the angle covered, similar as in any other goaltending situation. One thing about goaltending from sport to sport, it seems to have a lot of the same principles, and no difference here.
A yellow card just been issued to Diken. I believe he hit the offensive player in the face, probably unintentionally, but still it's 2 minutes. Could be 2 minutes.
All right, 2-minute penalty then, and for the next 2 minutes, the Sushi Masters will have a man advantage. Just 3 minutes to go in the first half now. The score remains 12-5, and there's going to be a penalty shot here for the Sushi Masters. Once again, Goss takes the shot, but this time unable to capitalize, and the ball goes over to Diken. Will a yellow card always result in a penalty shot?
Not always. Only in a shooting opportunity where there's an unimpeded shot or a dangerous play.
7 men aside, 6 men on the court, 1 goalie for each side. At this point, though, the Finns playing.
Well, actually, on that play, they didn't call a 2-minute penalty, so they're at full strain.
All right. Just the yellow card issued. Now, if a player's issued more than 1 yellow card, can that result in a red card and an expulsion? Timeout now called by the Sushi Masters. 2 minutes, 3 seconds to go in the first half. The score is Club Diken of Helsinki, Finland 12, and the Sushi Masters 5. And at this point, it looks like the Sushi Masters have got a real uphill climb to get back into this match.
Well, right now, their offense isn't on all cylinders. They're not getting good shots, and they're not in sync. They're the type of team, though, an experienced team that can come back, get their offense back into sync, and score very quickly. If I were Diken, I would just continue to put the pressure on them and continue to run the ball up and down the court to tire them.
Sushi Masters are as we said earlier, the defending United States club champion. Just roughly how many clubs are playing team handball in the United States?
At national championships last year, 1996 in Oklahoma City, there were 20 men's teams.
20 men's teams and women's teams?
About 5 women's teams.
And they're basically from all around the United States, I believe. There's no one area which is dominant over the other, as I understand it, in team handball.
The 2 areas are New York and California. And for California, the Sushi Masters took 2nd last year, and the Cal Heat, the practice and play out of this gym, took 3rd. The number 1 team was out of Garden City, New York, in Long Island.
Mm-hmm. All right, play back in now as the Sushi Masters look to get an opening. Less than 2 minutes to go in the first half. Kavanaugh looks to shoot and held the ball for too long, and the possession goes over to the Finns. But an errant pass stolen by the Sushi Masters. Holloman looks to break, looks for Story, but overthrows him, and the ball comes back to Diken. The pace of play picking up here with just a minute to go in the first half, as each club looks to get a goal before halftime. Now the Finns will slow it down. Is it typical that a team might work for 1 shot at the end of a half? Or?
Well, the referees will use their discretion. If they think they're looking for 1 shot and they're not attacking, they'll call a delay game and the ball will go to the other team.
All right, now the Finns looking for a shot and working on what basically is a weave. And over to the left wing, it's a goal scored by number 19, Jan Sundström. And it's now a 13-5 lead with just 30 seconds to go in the half. The Sushi Masters will look to see if they can get a good shot before halftime. Djokovic with the ball in, it's stolen, and a fast break. Number 21, Eklund, is ahead of the pack, but unable to score. 9-meter foul called. And there's a score there.
You can see
on the left wing.
You can see the type of conditioning that Diken's in. They had a secondary break there. Their players hustled down.
And that's the end of the first half. With that goal scored right at the end of the half by Diken, the score at halftime is Club Diken of Helsinki, Finland 14, the Sushi Masters of the United States 5. All right, welcome back now for the second half of One Last Dance, the Last Waltz, the last game for the Sushi Masters, defending national champion team, and Mark Lockenmeyer, the first half, made it a long dance for the Sushi Masters. It's 14-5 at halftime.
Sushi Masters look a little rusty out there. They weren't moving the ball very well, and they didn't get very many good shots. And Diken is just taking them to school. These guys are in great shape. They've got multiple skills. They work well as a team, and they've got guys with a lot of talent.
Well, it's important, I think, to stress that Club Diken is a top-notch first division club in a country where team handball is a prominent sport and a competitive country. And so it's not as if they're playing at a low level in terms of competition today. Now, as we start the second half, Bjorn Monberg firing away just as he was in the first half. This time doesn't connect, but he really was a dominant offensive force for Club Diken.
Well, Sushi Masters, to make this game close, are going to have to start to score right now and start the second half on the right foot.
The score is 14-5, just 1 minute into the second half. And the Sushi Masters will see if they can get back into this game, and very important for them, I think, to get a couple of goals early. Again, the defense tied on the circle runners, and they're pretty much left on the perimeter, but there's a beautiful play. Slashing in the score is Steve Goss, and real important for the Sushi Masters to get him going.
Joe McVeigh really made that play. He cut through the middle, made the defense come out and respect him on his shot, and Steve saw a nice little crevice and went through it, got a great pass.
14-6 now, 2 minutes into the second half. These games are 30-minute halves, running clock. No real stoppage of the clock anticipated. And so an 8-point lead would seem to be fairly large under those circumstances. There's a shot by number 9, Joel Scholand. That's wild, and a chance for the Masters now to counterattack. They'll set up and look to score. Let's talk for a moment, Mark, about the international structure of team handball. Even though the sport is not particularly well known in the United States, I think it can be said that it's played worldwide.
It is played worldwide. China, Japan, Korea have outstanding teams, and then of course in Europe, in Northern Europe, it's almost like a religion there. Coming up soon, the Pan American Championships will be held in Colorado Springs, October 6th through the 14th. 7 teams from the Americas will be there. The top 3 will go to the World Championships.
Joe McVeigh scores with the left hand and cuts the lead down to 14-7 as the first 2 goals of this second half were scored by the Masters, and that's what they're going to need to get back into the game. What are the chances of the U.S. national team at the Pan American Games?
Well, they have a very good chance, and they should take 1 through 3 and then head on to Japan in May of '97.
That goal on a really undefended play straight in for Christer Ahlberg, the lone professional player on this Diken club. He played professionally in Switzerland, now playing for Diken in the amateur leagues in Finland. There are no professional leagues in Finland. Score now 15-7, 26 minutes to go in the game. As McVeigh's left-handed shot is blocked, and the Diekman now looks to break. And they do successfully with number 2, Carl Salmelin, scoring on the fast break down the right wing on a beautiful lead pass from the defense.
The goalie really set that up on that block of Joe Story's little lob shot. They got the ball out to the wing, and that's how you score a fast break. Typically, the wings will release at the point of a shot and go down and try to sneak down and almost cherry pick on some of these plays.
McVeigh now dropping off to Story. And there's a shot by Djokovic that's blocked out of bounds. Ball will be retained by the Masters.
As you can see, typically you want a left-handed player to play on the right side of the court for the shot, for the angle of the shot.
There's a beautiful play by Goss, but he's unable to capitalize on it. He made a great play to get the ball back and had an open shot but unable to score.
The goalie is real hot right now. He's stopping everything.
And here's Ahlberg with the big right hand, clearly the tallest player for the Finns, and he has been a potent offensive force, scoring again and stretching the league of Diekman to 17-7 here in the first 5 minutes of the second half.
A goalie can dominate a game, and that's what the Diken goalie is doing right now. They're getting wide open shots, the Sushi Masters, and can't converge.
Let's talk for a moment about the structure of team handball in the United States. The sport is governed by the U.S. Team Handball Federation.
That's right. There are about 20 to 25 clubs, men's clubs throughout the United States. They play in localized tournaments, and once a year there's a national championship where all teams are invited to come to the national championships to compete, and the top 3 teams win the gold, silver, and bronze medal. With women, there's about 8 teams from all over the country and compete for medals.
Now, are there any clubs at U.S. Universities and colleges? As we watch Mr. Monberg go in on a breakaway fast break and score with the left hand. That's his first goal of the second half, and stretches the lead now to 18-7.
The two
team
most
handball
serious
at the college level.
The 2 most serious universities are West Point and Air Force Academy, which have very good teams. Ohio State, North Carolina play handball also. And there's a team recently formed in Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma in Norman.
Stolen by Diekman, and Monberg leads a break now. And there's a shot from the left wing that bounces up and over the goal. Shooting on a bounce seems to be a pretty effective way to score goals.
It's the timing of the goalie. By bouncing the ball, the timing of the goalie gets thrown off, and you can score very easily that way.
We've seen already here today that it's not the team that necessarily is shooting the hardest that's going to score the most goals. There's a pass finally into Mark Wright, circle runner, but his shot is beautifully blocked. Just some tremendous goaltending play here by Diekman today.
That was a wide open shot by Mark. He couldn't get it through his legs.
Alberg now looking to break. West Brintsfield out of goal takes care of that play. And it results in a counter goal on the counter attack by Mike Cavanaugh for the Sushi Masters, and then their 8th goal of the game. It's now an 18-8 score with 23 minutes to go in the game.
You can see the advantage there of being left-handed. He had the angle to shoot. If that was a right-handed shooter, it'd be nothing to shoot at. And that's why on the right side of the court, you usually have left-handed players, especially at the wing.
I guess finding left-handers is a premium, just like in any other sport.
That's right. It's a tremendous advantage to be lefty on that right side of the court.
18-8 our score with a little over 22 minutes here left in the game. Club Diken of Finland has just dominated pretty much from the outset. And there's a beautiful goal scored there by number 7, Sebastian Arnio. And our score is now 19-8. Mike Djokovic scores from outside, and that's a strategy that it looked like the Masters were utilizing well early in the game to loosen up from outside, but kind of got away from that.
Well, Djokovic there, you could see, hung in the air, made the goalie commit. The goalie committed, then he found that left corner and had tremendous elevation on his shot. In the first half, he just wasn't jumping like that.
Now Diken working the perimeter. We got a call here for what appears to be a 9-meter foul. It looked to me like that might have been a little traveling by the player there, but it wasn't called.
Typically what happens when a player does get hit, he gets an extra step, and the referees will give him an extra step after he gets hit.
Sort of like the continuation play in the NBA.
Even more so in team handball.
There's another foul called, and a 9-meter setup, the restart of the play for Club Diken. There's a beautiful shot by number 5, Mikael Quickstrom, scoring from the outside and beating goalie West Brintsfield for the 20th goal for Diken. They now lead 20-9, 10 minutes into the second half. Masters look to penetrate the defense, and then that play had the ball behind Monberg. That would have been a difficult position to shoot from.
Typically, the more skilled players do that when they want to get a 9-meter penalty, and that's what he did there.
Mark Wright in at circle runner, probably the biggest man on the court, but they've had a difficult time getting it into him there. McVeigh looked to drop it in. Excuse me, that was Story who looked to drop that ball into Mark Wright, but unable to do so. There's a 9-meter foul as Goss went through the score, but once the foul's called, then the play is terminated. Once again, pass stolen. They look to the referee for a foul. They don't get it, and it results in a fast break. But Brinsfield able to block Sebastian Arnaud, who went in unimpeded, no defense at all, but Brinsfield held his ground.
I think that just hit Wes right in the stomach on that play. He didn't do much to defend against that shot.
It'll sound like a great save when we're talking about it tonight. Now Goss over to Djokovic. He looks for an outside shot, takes it, and unable to score. But Wright gets the ball on the rebound and scores beautifully before landing into the 6-meter area.
You can see in that play, you can dive into the circle, catch the ball, and shoot. And as long as you shoot before you hit the ground, it's legal.
So no matter how close you might be to the goalie, so long as you're in the air, you're all right.
And Mark made a great play. He timed that perfectly, caught it and shot it, and somehow got it by the goalie, who seems like he's been stopping everything today.
20-10 is our score with 18 minutes and 36 seconds to go in the game. Club Diken dominating pretty much from the outset with that kind of scoring. Mikael Quickstrom again from about 7 meters.
That was a great shot by Quickstrom. Going to his right and then shooting back to his left is very, very difficult. He found a shooting lane and threw it by Wes. That was not an easy goal.
21-10 now, 18 minutes to go here. Goss looks to be getting into it a little bit more than he was able to in the first half, but still not a lot of goals. Left-handed shot by McVeigh is blocked. It looks like goalie play is really something that a more experienced team here of international caliber has quite an edge over the U.S. team.
They do, and what happens is you could put Nolan Ryan at 7 meters and he'd have trouble scoring against these goalies because it's not velocity, it's not location, it's a combination of deception to score.
There was a break for the Club Diken as Jan Sundstrom able to score at the end of it.
Once again, we remind you that these changes of announcers' tapes are brought to you by Media Partners, the premier music, video, and multimedia production company in Northern California. When it's time for a change, think Media Partners. We've been changing with you since 1972. Prior to that, we were, pretty much the same.
How important is it to have facilities such as this? Is it going to be possible to grow the sport in essentially facilities that were built only for basketball?
You can do it. I mean, I've been playing for 8 years and run a club, and we'll paint the floor with paint and put up goals, or we'll tape it. Handball players usually do whatever it takes to play because they love the game and they love to compete, and it can be done on almost any type of court. It doesn't have to be the legitimate size. It can be smaller. It can be thinner. It doesn't have to be the exact size.
As we said earlier, this facility here at Centerville Junior High in Fremont, California, really the only facility that was built with team handball in mind. As you see Greg Morava score for the Sushi Masters, it's now a 22-11 match. But coming back to talking about this facility, the dimensions of the team handball court are 20 meters by 40 meters, which is about 15 feet longer than a basketball court.
It's actually a little longer than, I think it's about 30 feet longer than a basketball court. Basketball court's typically 90 to 96 feet. This is probably 130 feet long. And when you first come out and play, it looks very long.
I imagine it does. So you better be in good condition to go up and down this court like this. Again, unlike basketball, not a lot of stoppages in play.
That's what happens. I mean, they've tested these athletes at the Olympic Training Center, and typically handball players are in much better shape than basketball because it's running.
Yes. Here's a ball coming towards us again.
The future of the sport also may lie in beach handball. Right now, they're playing throughout Europe. It's become an incredibly popular sport. As a matter of fact, Diken just sent a team to a big tournament in Sweden, and the players were telling us last night they had a lot of fun playing. It's very popular, and you only need 4 players, 3 position players and a goalie.
Well, that could be a game we might see.
I think we'll see it
up
here
on American beaches.
I think it could become much more popular than volleyball because of the contact and the skills involved. It may be a much better spectator sport.
The other difference, I would imagine, is you don't have to necessarily be tall to play this game, and that's, I think, an advantage of this game over both volleyball and basketball. You don't need to be 6'5" in order to play at a high quality, as you can see by a fellow like Bjorn Monberg.
Well, it's interesting. In the '88 Olympics, Korea took the bronze medal, the men, and I don't think they had a player over 6'2".
Now Diken looking to score, and again, it's number 5, Mikael Quickstrom, who's really having quite a second half. I think that's his 3rd goal is in the second half. And the 23rd goal for Diken in today's game. They now lead 23-11 with a little over 13 minutes to go.
Quickstrom's one of their younger players, and he looks like he's going to have a really bright future in this game. He's got a great shot. He's very aggressive and very accurate in his shooting.
Let's talk about international competition again. You were at the Olympics at Atlanta last month. Championship for both men and women there.
Well, in the men's division, Croatia played Sweden in the gold medal game, and Croatia was a big physical team with a lot of speed and great shooters, and they took on the Swedish team, which were more finesse and older players, and it was a great game. Croatia got out to an early lead. Sweden came back, got within 1 with about 3 minutes to go, and then Croatia turned it on again and beat them by about 3 or 4 goals in a great game. You had to feel really happy for Croatia with everything that's happened over there with the war and all that type of stuff. The players were real happy, real excited, and it was a great championship game.
And I think showing the depth of the sport, one really doesn't think of Croatia as being a team handball power.
Well, Yugoslavia at one time was a power, and then with all the problems they've had over the last 7 or 8 years, they haven't really been able to put a competitive team together. But for the Olympics, the Croatians had a great team. Sweden had a great team, so it was 2 kind of giants going at it toe-to-toe.
Now, how often is the World Cup competition scheduled? Is that in the off-Olympic years?
Yeah, it's every 2 years, and in '97 in May, it'll be held in Japan. So the United States has a good chance for qualifying. However, a lot of times it's the philosophy of the country. If you bring in a lot of new players, maybe they won't qualify. If they go with more experienced players, they will qualify. Some teams will bring in their experienced players just for the qualification and then actually bring a young team to the World Championships.
Now, on the women's side in the Olympics, what were the results?
Well, the gold medal game may have been one of the greatest games ever played in team handball. It was an overtime win. Denmark had beaten Korea. Korea had gone up and was leading by 5 or 6 goals most of the game. Denmark made an incredible run, came back, tied it in regulation time with a penalty shot to win it. The Korean goalie blocked the shot. It went into overtime, and Denmark won by 4 goals.
Now, was that an expected result? I presume. I know Denmark's considered one of the team handball powers.
The Koreans had won the gold medal the last 2 Olympics in the women's, and they're an incredible team to watch.
The whistle blows, and the players coming back out on the court for the final 10 minutes of this game, a game that's been dominated really from the early minutes by the Finnish club Diken from Helsinki, one of 3 first division clubs in Helsinki. Helsinki, of course, a large city, and only 3 clubs in the first division. This is one of them.
Handball in Europe is very similar as rugby in terms of the camaraderie. The teams play and hit each other all game and play very competitively, and then after the game, both teams usually get together, have dinner, have some beers, and talk about the game.
And I think that'll probably be happening tonight here. We're going to have a little of that international flavor here in the Bay Area. Nice goal by Mark Wright, the circle runner. His second this half. And the team's 12th, the Sushi Masters, now down 24-12. Diken looking to get it into Carl Salmelin, the circle runner. We haven't heard much from Monberg this half, but I suspect that may be that they're just looking to some other people. That shot high by Mikael Quickstrom, who's been taking over the scoring duties. As you can see, Monberg there playing an outside position on defense. We had a preliminary game here with the B team for Club Diken today. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the Cal Heat, which is a club team that practices here and plays here at Centerville Junior High, brought a team out. They won the bronze medal at national championships, and it was a pretty well fought out game. Diken, though, the class of that game, beat them by about 8 goals. Right now in American handball, the season's basically over. Players get done playing usually in May at the club level. So the players haven't been playing. They're not in very good shape. While for the Europeans right now, this is sort of their training camp, and they start in about a month in a very competitive season.
Bjorn Monberg scores again. That's his 8th goal. Makes him the leading scorer in this game, and the 25th goal for Club Diken. They now lead 25-12. Is this a typical level of scoring for an international team handball competition?
Yes, at the Olympic level, typically the scores are in the 20s. 25-23, 22-21.
And there's a beautiful shot by Bob Djokovic.
Djokovic that time went between the goalie's legs. Got around the defender, and the goalie probably couldn't see where he was shooting from.
Well, they haven't been able to beat the goalies wide, so this time he decided to go right at him. 25-13 now our score with 7 minutes and 42 seconds to go in this game between the Sushi Masters of the United States, defending national champion, and Club Diken, a first division club from Finland. There's a shot nicely blocked by Wes Brinsfield. Wes has had several good saves this half, and that's helped the Sushi Masters be a little more competitive, I think, in the second half than they had been in the first.
A hot goalie can put you in any game, no matter how bad your defense is. If the goalie gets hot, they can stop anything.
There was a case where the defensive player was in the 6-meter area, and so the ball is going to be retained by the Masters. A nice crowd in attendance for today's game from Fremont here. It's sort of interesting to me. I don't think of this area being particularly a hotbed for the sport like handball, but this is really the only facility of this nature. And so the local club is, as we see Monberg go ahead and score behind the back.